Panda Smoke here on Twitch. Thanks for coming and watching the part 2 of my tier list on YouTube. This is my second official video in my mind. Second maybe live recorded from Twitch stream. I hope you enjoyed the first video where I talked about the tanks and the healers. This video we're going to talk about the DPS. We're going to talk about my opinions on melee first, and then range. We're going to put them in the tier list. And as always, if you haven't followed on Twitch, Panda Smoke. Panda Smoke. I do a lot of RBG content. I am a 2500 XP Discipline Priest. Got Hero the second season and contended for Hero every season since Shadowlands Season 2. I have probably the most games playing in the NA, so I feel like I have to at least speak up about where I feel solo shuffles for rated battlegrounds will take us here. From the world of 10 people in Discord to the world of how will my class fare in this new game mode. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So we have our ratings from last night. They're up here. If you didn't see the first video, please watch part 1 where I gave my opinion on the tanks and the healers. Alright, we're going to rate DPS. And before I start, I would like to say that in rated battlegrounds, your DPS have roles within each game. You have, for instance, on the base maps, roles that are team fighters, base hitters, classes that hit base hitters, and floaters, base floaters, the ones who float for the defense of the people hitting bases. Also, when it comes to flag maps, each class and spec fares better defending their flag or sometimes attacking the enemy flag carrier based on their certain class and spec. When we talk about silver shard mines and carts, that's what we call it. Certain classes play better for the lava cart, which is the team fight, and other classes play better for the mid and the long cart, the top cart. They call that water. It's middle. And when it comes to temple, some classes hold orbs better while gaining damage and taking more damage, but scoring points in temple, while some classes fare better doing the damage to those enemy carrying the orbs instead of carrying orbs. We'll explain those a little bit per spec. So we're going to start with a second thought. There are two kind of DPS in rated battlegrounds that I say have the build that you're looking for. We have a AoE spec kind of damage, and then you have your single target burst, such as marksman's enhance. You have your rot, and you have your AoE. A lot of rated battlegrounds incorporates more AoE damage to help with the game of mana against the opposing healers. But every comp has to be built around some sort of concept of whether we're draining mana or are we looking for single target explosion setup kills. Well, starting with the enhanced shaman, they are all about setup kills. At the stage of them right now, I would say they were God tier, S tier before they changed them. They have a problem with a few things in rated battlegrounds. Most classes that lack more than one defense cooldown normally have a hard time in rated battlegrounds. The nerf has really took away a lot of enhances one-shot ability on 3 characters, but that is not really a reason why I would put them at B tier. I would say that there's more things that other melee classes can provide. And in a base map, an enhance is a team fighter, but played properly, they can float. Played properly, I don't think they can hold a base very well with much CC. They could if they have a summon pet, but any class that can summon a pet can sit base as well, which is how many classes? A lot of them. So the problem is that most people think that people can't sit bases. That's another concept. What we're going to talk about is that they do provide utility. They provide a lust to a teammate. And they do provide off heals and a lot of utility. The stage of the game, I feel like there's other classes that are easier to play than Enhance. But even if you play the other classes at the max skill cap compared to max skill cap and Enhance, I think just the output of other classes will put them above Enhance right now. So moving to arms. I'll put arms at A tier. In rated battlegrounds, sharpen is incredible when you have 4, 5, 3 targets, people hitting the same target. The only problem with the warrior, which may take them down to B tier to me, just the class itself, is the fact that it's a team reliant class. It's about team fighting. There's not much a warrior can do to change the game. Unless he's incredible at his kicks, unless he's incredible at his CC setups, unless he's incredible about his damage. But a warrior can change the game through target calling in standard rated battlegrounds. Everybody attack on his sharpen, something normally dies. But we do have the ping system, so I would hope that if we macro a ping to maybe one of your major abilities like sharpen, that people would know that you're pinging a certain target in this sharpen. If that becomes a thing in solo shuffles, I could see warrior doing just fine A tier. If people just get into the meta of making assist macros to your warrior, which will probably have to happen if you want to get high level with solo shuffles. A warrior has a lot of defensives. They are a defensive class. They're a defensive staple on flag maps. They are a staple for team fights. And they are a team fight class. There are a few classes that normally we don't ask to leave the fight in rated battlegrounds. Affliction locks, warriors, and priests. And a few others. Not much though, if things have to rotate. But with the stage of warrior and where they're at, I would put them at A tier. We're going to go Unholy DK. And if I end up putting everything at A tier, I would have to deem somebody S tier eventually. But for now, I will put Unholy DK at A tier. They're doing incredible damage after the rework. But for rated battlegrounds, what they can do, besides damage, is their grips, their slows, their utilities to control the fight. To control the fight and be able to slow the fight. And we're not talking just the fight itself. We're talking about the direction of the fight, where we're taking the fight, where it's moving towards to the enemy flag carry, a node. They can capture healers and not let healers into the fight at all. Another important thing about Unholy DKs is their CC kick package on healers. Stun silence is incredible for rated battlegrounds, especially tossing on an off healer while you're attacking a kill target, such as a Mistweaver, or kicking a Warlock's Destro bolts, Chaos bolts. They don't really have a lot of utility to take bases. If you run Cold Tyrion, which in my opinion is one of the best races to run in rated battlegrounds with the Haymaker and Knock Stun, because you can find places on the map that allow you to do things that allows you to bypass the numerical code of the game and just put them at 0. So DKs have incredible synergy with that racial with their grips into knocks on maps such as Eye of the Storm, maybe taking a cart, maybe just to grip a orb and knock them back into our team, knocking people off on Twin Peaks with the flags. That makes them A tier alone. Moving on to Feral Druid. Feral Druid, I had them at A tier last night, and I'll still keep them at A tier. Feral Druids provide a AoE Mortal Strike, which is incredible. Their damage output's incredible. The class itself is a hybrid. To me, a Feral Druid is able to do what Druids can do. They can heal, they can CC, they can go in stealth, and they can become base hitters. They can go in stealth, and they can sit bases very well. They can take advantage of enemy flag carries on offense because they are an offensive class. They also have the utility to assist teammates with healing as a druid. They're hybrids, we get it. But in rated battlegrounds, there's more than fighting, there's objectivity. And the fact that they can go in stealth and have a hybrid of a little bit of everybody, you know, the Whitman sampler of the World of Warcraft classes, got a little different flavor of everything. They actually, as a class, not just a spec, can do the most important things throughout Battlegrounds itself. So I talked about this in the stream. I think the people who are really going to be able to climb aren't going to be the team fighter classes. I think it's going to be the classes that can hold bases, the classes who take bases, and the classes who float for bases are the true classes that will have an opportunity to climb at MMR and CR. I think that, in my opinion, team fighting classes are going to be very difficult to climb because it's dependent on the team fight going well. And rated battlegrounds, so much can go on behind the team fight, in middle, or wherever you're fighting, that the objective classes can just win the game. We're going to move on to Fury Warrior. I don't want to put everything A tier, but they are an A tier class. There are some lower than A tiers in here. I can spot them. But Fury Warrior is incredible. They come with the Slaughterhouse AoE Mortal Strike. Their damage is incredible. They can take advantage of Death Wish with the proper teammates, especially if you're doing duo queues. I would say with a healer or a Fury Warrior doing Death Wish could do a lot of incredible things. They are a team fighting class, unfortunately, but I would say that with their self-healing, it would edge them up above Arms Warrior. I may eventually shift some to B, but for now, I would say they're on the same tier of these other classes. They can float with their heroic leaps. There is a way to take more heroic leaps on your Fury Warrior so you can help rotate the bases. And as I said, that is what, in my opinion, is going to lead to more victories opposed to what class is doing the most damage. We're going to move on to our Sin Rogue. Right now, I think I'm real biased because Sin Rogue, with the Garrote spam with silences and with the damage output they bring, you can almost put them at S tier. But because of their defenseless, takes them down to A. I don't know if I want to put them at B because they are a primary kill target and they're not as effective as holding a base as Sub Rogue, which, if we're talking about how to win Battlegrounds, it's about, can you hold a base? Can you take a base? Can you impact a fight when you show up? They can impact a fight, but everybody hits the Rogue. And after your evasion and cloak is down, normally Sin Rogues die. And that's what your life is going to be like. Yes, you can have S tier damage. Yes, you can be incredible. Yes, you are in the EU's meta right now. Double Sin Rogue, double Feral, DH. But in my opinion, they do not have the sturdiness to be able to exist when people just hit you. If you overlap cooldowns in rated battlegrounds, you get punished the same way. For maps such as Temple, Carts, they can shine when things are stacked together, but simply spreading apart can really decrease the value of a assassin rogue in rated battlegrounds to the point where it's almost a glass cannon melee doing uh, not as important things as what a sub rogue could provide or what a ret paladin could do to help with the team. We're gonna go to Frosty K. Right now, I'm gonna put them at C tier. Their AoE stun is incredible. Their CC package is incredible. Their slows are incredible. But if that's what we're measuring here, these two classes, Blood and Unholy, can do it just as well. Their class needs a redesign. I played it for the first time this season. It's a 1-2 class based around standing in your death and decay. Well, guess what happens in rated battlegrounds? They don't stand around. People move, they walk out of things, they are chasing objectives. It's very hard to play a team fight class and expect to get a lot of results in rated battlegrounds if you're not going to stick to probably what the meta melee is of the month. Frosty K's AoE stun are really good utility for a team fight, but generally when you have 2-3 healers healing and one's not crossed properly, things don't die in a 3-4 second stun. It takes a lot of crossing, a lot of CC. Frosty K's best attribute to rated battlegrounds are their slows, are their utility package, their crowd control. Move on to Retribution Paladin. I think this is going to be my first S tier class. I think Retribution Paladin might almost be God tier if I'm going to put one God tier for each. I think if I'm going to put one God tier for each, we go God tier. We're going to go Unholy DK to S. And then we'll put... I think we'll leave it there for now. I think Retribution Paladin for melee is God tier. The fact that they can heal, the fact that they can assist a teammate, they can float for bases, they can hold bases with bubble, with trinket, bops. They can hit bases with things and to be able to keep them alive. Things is being a teammate's DPS without having to have an extra healer out of fight to heal you. Also, they can float for bases very well for the same reason. And they have incredible output with the rework and team fight. You put a Retribution Paladin in a team fight right now. Holy shocking. Not holy shocking, but Hammer of Wrath. And just incredible output AoE. The class is no longer a melee. I think this is its own class range. I think it's a 15-yard range class now. That has helped Retribution Paladin as a melee in incredible ways in rated battlegrounds. I think the highest melee solo shuffle person will be a Retribution Paladin. That is my prediction. I think a Retribution Paladin is going to have a great time in solo shuffles. Repentance, one healer, Hodge the other, and go to work. Alright, we're going to go to Sub Rogue. I think we put Sub Rogue at S tier. Might shock you. Well, sub tier isn't doing incredible damage. Well, if you are anybody who knows anything about rogue life and PvP, you would put Sub Rogue at S. Probably in arenas and probably in RBGs as well. As a base hitter, you are the master of taking bases, and for the fact that I think you cap bases faster than 6 seconds now in solo shuffles, they are able to possibly solo take bases again. Right now in the current meta, they can't take bases alone unless you trinket the wrong thing, the wrong CC, and they're able to take it from you. Sounds very general, of course, but it was a lot different when their blind was longer. I think a rogue and a druid combo duo is going to be one of the most powerful duos in solo shuffles. Facing a rogue boomy duo that is assaulting your base is almost impossible to defend by yourself, and almost impossible to defend with two people somewhat with skilled rogue boomies. I think the most important thing sub rogues can do is they can hold their base for a very long time until backup arrives. And when it comes to flag maps, their main role is going to kill the EFC, landing smoke bomb kidneys, setting up crosses on the healers, while the team finishes the victim. They're great on defense to help the flag carry as well, especially if you have a Demon Hunter tank that is going to kite and try to get away. All right, moving on to Outlaw. I think right now I put Outlaw I'll put them at C tier if I'm putting Sin at B. Outlaw right now is not really representing the rated Battlegrounds bracket too much. Their kit has value. They can hold bases a little bit better than a Sin Rogue. They can maybe have some kind of techniques to land some grapple cap situations on bases a little bit better. They have nice output damage with their pistol shot. But for the fact that they hit pistol shot on one target and a Retribution Paladin can hit Hammer of Wrath on 6 targets with the same amount of buttons being pressed, I would just have to put them that far down. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Sin Rogue because most people play sub for rated Battlegrounds, and Sin has found its way when it's one shot value is up, such as the Sepsis. And right now it's really good for its AoE bleeding, AoE silences, and AoE growths. We're going to go into Windwalker. I think I'll put Windwalker at B tier. Windwalker is notoriously squishy in rated Battlegrounds. They're squishy in arenas. Between your goes, I think every good Windwalker probably like runs and hides behind the pillar. Well, imagine you have 4 or 5 DPS trying to run you down instead of 1 or 2. It's a different ball game. I think Windwalkers have to land kills through their defensives, or they're not going to live the longevity of that fight unless their healers are incredible, trading cooldowns properly. But I would put them at B tier. I'm being a pessimistic tonight, sort of, on the classes, but let's think if they were playing at the max ability. A Windwalker provides incredible AoE damage, AoE stun, CC, the ability to hold a base with a very long time with Xuan the Tiger. And they have incredible ability to float for bases with their mobility. The problem with rated Battlegrounds mobility is that it does get you to the next objective faster, but it also means that you probably left everybody else behind. Being that said, we'll go into the Survival Hunter. I think I would put Survival Hunter C tier. The best Survival Hunter is a friend of mine, Paradise 1, multi-glad, multi-R1, multi-hero. Maybe not multi-R1. Maybe R1. He does some incredible things to take bases. That might put some Survival Hunters up to B tier, in my opinion, because they do have incredible utility to take bases. I've seen them use the pet ability to dodge 3 spells and take bases. I've seen them simply fear Guardian Druids off their node with Scare Beast and take the base on his trinket with a trap. There's some value in that in solo shuffles. So that is why I think I decided to put him from C to B. We are going to talk about our range DPS now. And let's talk about where I would rate everything. I think I'm gonna God tier 2. We're gonna start with God tier 1 though, because it's the first up. We're gonna go Affy. Now, I'll put them S tier. Affliction Warlocks, as I mentioned earlier, you may remember, Warlocks are a class I consider a class that stays in team fight. They do max damage. They provide a lot of CC, obviously. They do have an incredible base sitting script with their Voidwalker, who can AoE damage on the flag. The actual keybinds control F4. Affilocks provide damage. They provide slows. They control the maps. Unstable affliction on healers creates a lot of problems, especially paired with a mind games or anything that forces dispels. They are much like Death Knights. They control the midfield fights. They're doing high numbers on top of that, which gives the value of a role. Certain roles. You have slow classes. You have classes that help pill for healers. You have classes that are always offensive. You have classes that play for your tank. But when you have classes that have incredible CC like Boomy and their Cyclones, but when you have these classes who have the peak of their class or their spec isn't all about just damage, it's about what else their class can do. But then you add the fact that they do max damage to that, it gives to me like a superstar capacity of skill cap level. Because not only are your classes stars at certain things such as crowd control, but now you're incorporating the numbers. And I think Warlocks really have that when it comes to team fighting. I think that just your unstable affliction getting dispelled and causing a healer to take too much damage and die can cause a lot of fights to go in your favor when you arrive. I'll put them at S tier. I want to put them at God tier because I'm kind of biased. I'll put Destra at A tier. I like them. They do incredible damage, but because Affylock and Warlock itself has not much to say about because it's a team fighting class, I would say that you get more value out of your Affylock because you can spread damage without being trained and losing a lot of value by just getting kicked in Chaos Bolt. In rated battlegrounds, you're going to get kicked in Chaos Bolt a lot. In rated battlegrounds, Warlock, you're going to get hit the entire game. With that being said, in solo shuffles, it almost pulls you guys down a notch just on the basis that you're getting hit a lot. If they take precog away next season, you may be in real trouble because right now, people hitting on you can add a lot of value to your class. But I would still put them at A tier. Their single target burst is incredible. We have Demo Lock. A lot of people in rated battlegrounds probably put them D, C, because they're biased individuals. But an incredible Demo Lock can actually hit a base and create so much friction to the main team fight that they have to pill out a healer or they have to pill out a DPS to handle a Demo Lock. I think it's very important to know that Demo Locks aren't going to go in there and be the most game-changing classes on range. But with the high skill cap, you can play at a max level of B tier. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Just scanning over the other ones, I think it's a B tier class. I am very nice, and I feel like almost one or two of each row should shift down a tier. If I would be a little more. Nah, so everything's not bad. Which, that's how I feel, though, in rated battlegrounds. I do feel that a lot of the specs are real balanced. There's a nice, healthy... You can play almost any class spec right now in rated battlegrounds. So it feels very good. And to me, There may be a D tier or C tier here and there, but most classes are feeling very viable. In the last 5 seasons, it was been very cookie cutter meta, only at the top. But I'm starting seeing a lot more variety the last season. So going next season, hopefully that's what they've been working towards too before they release this solo shuffle rated battleground experience, that everybody feels they have the advantage to land kills while still defending themselves with damage reduction defensive. Like everybody has one now. Maybe you get immunity as well, or two if you're a demon hunter. But Demo Lock, I'll put them at B tier. They're a team fight class. They can assault bases with their kit because they have self survivability. They have a high ramp. They have high damage. They're a good class, but I don't think they compare to the other specs. And they are incredible base hitters. That's why you may start seeing some points. It's not what you do in team fight. I think it's Demo Lock. I think it's going to be what you can do to create a diversion out of fight while you're hitting nodes, or the slows you can provide like on flag maps, or the utility you can provide with just the warlock gates and the hellstone itself, for like things like carts, silver shard mines, while you're trying to get from the next cart to the next cart faster with the team. I think that they can defend bases well, and that's going to put them in a good position to be able to hold the map's win conditions. We go next, spec Arcane Mage. I think I'll put Arcane Mage. Hmm. 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 I think I'll put Arcane Mage A tier. Uh, Arcane Mage is really good. It can be played in an incredible manner if you play it correctly. It has Arcanosphere. It can provide polymorphs, which is a whole school of reduction DRs that most rated battleground comps don't bring, which is mages, shamans normally right now with their hex. So just being able to have your own school to cast on healers can create incredible team fight advantages. Their damage output is incredible right now. The mobility is always a plus for rated battlegrounds. Mobile classes normally shine more than the slower classes in rated battlegrounds, just to keep up with the pace of where things are going. I think Arcane Mage is the best out of all three specs currently. I know people love Fire Mage, but Fire Mages are struggling in rated battlegrounds because of their health pool. I think Arcane's incredible. They can float, they can sit bases, and also they can hit bases in camo. Hitting a base with a rogue is gonna be a guaranteed cap if the rogue and mage has any kind of synergy, and they have nice utility. What they lack, of course, self healing. I think we go into that. We got fire mages. I'm gonna put them at B tier. Fire mages are, as I said, under everybody's normal health pool. While everybody else is 800k, fire mages are sacrificing their life to do more damage, but you can't do damage when you're dead, buddy. And that's a rule of rated battlegrounds. Because this is an arena and you can come back from the dead. But what you can't do is damage when you're dead. So when you come back, you can't die again. You gotta keep doing numbers. And fire mages can do incredible numbers. But if a team starts to begin to kill fire mages, it becomes a real fast liability. Life insurance is what they need. But Cauterize is not the company that they need to get it from anymore. Also, fire mages are good for EFC maps, on flag maps. They have incredible damage. Maybe they'll have a little bit more opportunity to live for the reduced numbers of the solo shuffle, so they might have a little bit more impact to the game. It might actually be the sleeper class because of that exact reason. Maybe the numbers is just the perfect sweet spot for Fire Mage. But for now, I'll leave them B tier. They could be the sleeper god tier. You never know. We're gonna go to Frost Mage. I'm gonna put them at C. They're the lesser of all three brothers here. I think that Frost Mage's slows are incredible. The fact that they have multiple defensives to survive in team fights is going to help them. They are incredible base hitters. Frost Mages may defy the odds because they are incredible base hitters with their water elemental, with their 2 blocks, with their blinks, with their casting while blinking away. I think it's a very good class, but they all need to press polymorph. All three mages always need to press polymorph. They need to take advantage of having their own DR to themselves. And a lot of times in rated battlegrounds, it seems that people tend to forget the poly. But they're incredible for their slows, their utility. They have function amongst multiple maps. Normally they are playing the objective role instead of a team fighter. They're more of an objective kind of class for map to map. They'll play off cards. They'll make sure people don't get across the map for Warsong Gulch to hit your tank. They'll play defense on flag maps to make sure people don't kill your tank or even connect sometimes. And like I said, they have good base hitting potential. And just because they do the utility things of rated battlegrounds, I would say this is your sleeper class. Like, it could be a C on paper in coordinated rated battlegrounds because they're not doing max numbers, because rated battlegrounds right now is about what's the meta and how many of 10 people can hit the same target while crossing other healers. And if your team fight's better right now, generally your team fight's just better because it's so precise about landing your kicks, about crossing your healers when DR falls, that a lot of teams are shifting to objectivity. So you see Frost Mages time to time now in rated battlegrounds, while all three specs are present and you see them. When at one time it was only Fire Mage with combustions, it was only Arcane Mage, it was only the Frost Mage with the Necro Lord ability. But right now, I would say that for the utility purposes that it provides over the other two classes, the other two specs of Mage, it could find itself higher tier. It could be just this. It could be this. And that's if we're going to go on. Are we talking objectivity or are we talking damage output? So let's move on. We're at Devastation Evoker. I think I'll put Devastation at A tier. They actually have incredible damage output. I almost want to move them up to S tier. I think we put them at S tier with the Affy lock. Just scanning over. No, I think we leave them at A tier. I think it feels right. They have incredible mobility. They have incredible damage. With rated battlegrounds, about going to the next objective. If somebody grabs a flag, you want to kill them. If somebody grabs an orb, you want to kill them. The newest cart doesn't matter. The cart that's about to cap next matters. Mobility gets you there faster, right? So, like, these classes are going to shine when it comes to objectivity, getting where you need to go. And this is the Precious Dragon. They're going to be good. They look incredible. Blizzard spent lots of money to make these visual effects. They are a team fighter class. They can float for bases. They're not the greatest at sitting bases. And with the right build, with a little bit of healing adjusted to it, I think you could probably say they could hit bases with a DPS decently. You will find issues that people will try to kill you on your class as a evoker, sort of like they do warlocks. And I think the most important thing is that they are going to be playmakers of the game. So with their mobility, put some A tier. Then we're gonna move on to Augmentation Evoker. I think we should put them at S tier here. To be able to buff the entire team's incredible. Hopefully Blizzard has some kind of default where it puts all the DPS into the group with the Evoker and doesn't have like the augmentation Evoker and 2 healers in a group and 1 tank, and the DPS are in a separate group so nobody gets to write buffs. But at the current stage of the game, being able to buff your entire team is incredible. I don't think I have to spend 45 minutes explaining about their team fight enhancement ability. Of course, you might adjust a few things. You might take Waystone. Let's talk about that. Waystone is incredible for rated battlegrounds, allowing somebody to port to you. Even your flag carry can port to you. Maybe Augmentation Evoker might be one of the highest rated solo rated battlegrounds shuffle specs, just because of their kit they have. They do a lot of incredible things. They can swoop up tanks and Twin Peaks to the graveyard and reset the flag right now until Blizzard fixes that, probably in solo shuffles drama coming up. Or they can swoop an enemy flag carrier to the edge of Twin Peaks and knock them off. They can swoop off priests on Eye of the Storm and middle and knock them off. They are more than just a brand new class. They actually have changed rated battlegrounds a lot. Not just Augmentation Evoker, but Evoker itself. Their talent builds. If you haven't seen an incredible Evoker play at its highest ability on DPS, there's a lot of people playing Evoker. I actually played Evoker last season. I got to 2400 on Preservation and rated battlegrounds. So Panda Smoke is one. Can't really name a whole lot off the top of my head, but Augmentation Evoker is doing very well in rated battlegrounds. We're going to go to Beastmaster. We're going to put them in, I think, a C tier here. Beastmaster isn't really representing rated battlegrounds too much. They're going to be decent holding bases. They think is their best pro, playing multiple seasons, the last 5-6 seasons. I think the best thing a Beastmaster brings is their ability to hold bases. Are you going to land traps in rated battlegrounds? A lot. I hope so, but a lot of hunters aren't looking for that in rated battlegrounds. But Hunter's CC package itself, if you just talked about a jar, it's going to be S tier, a jar there. But for what other specs of it brings, you can have a better choice playing Marksman, I would say. I think they can hit bases okay. They have stealth. They have pets. They have CC. They have probably a one-on-one cap condition. And they can hold bases really well. But I think that's what you're looking for out of a Beastmaster and rated battlegrounds. You're not going to get a whole lot of action, but you probably can leave your pets at a base that you're sitting and ghost it in camo and try to make a play for somebody else's base while your pets hold the base, which is what a lot of hunters do time to time. All right. We're going to go Shadow Priests. I think we would put them at B tier. Shadow Priests bring the micro CC. Everybody loves Vampiric Touch, dispels, and getting silenced and feared for 3 seconds or feared for 3 seconds. But they do have good damage output with the right comps. A lot of dot classes. Their rot is incredible. They bring dual PI now, so they don't have to take PI for themselves. They can share it. They do have a good output on healing. They actually are sort of similar to Demo when they could go do one. They can win their 1v1s and take people's nodes. So they're good at hitting bases. If you take the right Shadow Priest build, you'll be able to self-heal a lot of the damage while assaulting bases. And they do incredible team fights. Their setups to land kills is very good. Their downfall, let's say, the rated battlegrounds is you're not looking to probably be able to hold a base very well, and you don't really float as a Shadow Priest. So you fall into the either you're a team fighter, which is 80% of Shadow Priest, and then you do have, just as a class spec itself, a good kit to win 1v1s. So you can hit bases decently. But the biggest thing you're going to do as a Shadow Priest is you're probably going to pull a healer out while you're hitting a base, same as a Demo Lock. So then you would probably hopefully stretch further away from the DPS, try to land kills on targets one on one, turn the 2v1 to a 1v1 by space, and if things chase, try to land kills. But that's not what you're looking to do as a Shadow Priest if you don't understand how to do that quite yet. But they do have that in their package. Well, on the Elemental Shaman, I'm gonna put them in B tier as well. Like I said, we could probably shift some of these down a bit, and then it would like create the right spaces there. Yeah, that's fine for me. Maybe we just put that mage there because I don't want everything to be on one row. It's kind of defeats the purpose. I think Beastmaster I put a D tier. That's fine actually. It looks real good down there. Elemental Shaman. They provide dot protection. They're a team fight class. I would say they're a floater class. They're not much of a base sitter, but they can hold bases probably with fire elemental. They can hit bases. It's a hybrid class, so you can do a little bit of everything like a druid, but you can't go in stealth. So it makes it kind of it doesn't. It's not as good for hitting bases. It's decent. The number out is incredible, but you're looking at team fight. They have Nox, which provides a lot of utility for rated battlegrounds. I would say for the most part, elemental shamans they're enjoyable. All right, we're gonna move on to Boomy. I think Boomy. I'm gonna put them. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Where will I put Boomy in rated battlegrounds? Now, I'm not an expert. I just play a whole lot, but I think I'm gonna put them at God tier because let me tell you why. Boomies are God tier. These are the Marines of rated battlegrounds. Cyclone's incredible. Being a Cyclone healers, it's incredible. I faced the best teams in the world. Camel, Dingle, Kellen. One thing that those druids are going to make sure they're doing is putting priests on clones, healers on clones, and they're not overlapping DRs, and you're eating the whole clones off of cheap shots. So clone itself is what makes druids almost a head and shoulders above everybody else. They can stealth, their damage output's incredible. And this is one of those moments where I said that when you have classes that shine in all kinds of other aspects of the game, but then you also incorporate that they're max damage or they have a single target burst that can kill people, or they can press Starfall, Sunfire, and Moonfire and top the charts in damage. It's just a different advantage when you don't have to fulfill what your RBG specs roles are truly intended. Or, in that manner, you can stack a lot of boomies and you have objectivity at the max conditions, a stealth player who can cap it with 6 seconds of a cyclone, or he can come to fight and just shut the whole fight down with Sunfire, Moonfire, Starfalls. They can be all over the flag carry, all game, the enemy flag carry. They can decurse their own flag carry and give them regrowths. They can run the flag to their tank to fast cap. They can hold bases almost better than any class besides rogue, sub rogue. They can shift routes. While they can root you, they can get out of their routes on cooldown. Any button. They're just the god tier spec of rated battlegrounds. When it comes to being able to do anything and everything in a rated battleground, they're it. They can take bases. They can defend bases. They're the best in team fighters. They're the best floater. They can do everything. I would say Marksman's our final pick. We're going to put Marksman garbage. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's just a joke. Okay, and then S tier is where I'm going to put Marksman. The range that they can shoot from with the mastery, stacking mastery, you can almost kill somebody with a sniper shot, aim shot, rapid fire. It's an incredible class. You can stealth. You can assist in taking nodes. You can pull your pet out and you can hold a base really good. Your damage output, the design of the class for maps like Temple of Katmogu, for your flag maps is incredible because you're going to have incredible uptime on orb carries and the enemy flag carry. If you're just going to go a team fight, you have an incredible impact on, say, your burst and landing a kill on a healer, swaying the entire team fight to your team's favor by taking out a healer by yourself. And I would say that it is a very good class for rated battlegrounds. Like I said, distance and range is your friend, and mobility is your friend in rated battlegrounds. Besides that, I think I'll conclude it there. I did well. This was my DPS solo shuffle tier list. If you enjoyed it, I hope you give me a follow on YouTube. Give me a follow on Twitch, Panda Smoke. Give me a like, subscribe. All the good stuff they say nowadays, just to be in tune with the logarithms. But really, there's a little bit more comedic fun to the way I do my rated battlegrounds. I hope that maybe you can come by Twitch sometime. Just say hello, say I found you through YouTube, and come watch some incredible gameplay of rated battlegrounds. In the last year and a half, I probably have the most games played in the NA. Thousands and thousands and thousands of games played in the last year and a half. Well, it's been a good time, YouTube, and we'll talk later.